we're going to be running ads for Mongoose Media on Pornhub, and I can target business owners making $400,000 a year watching blonde female porn.
Eventually, we as humans, there will be an agentic interface between us and our messages.
Whoever comes out with like a virgin social media app that like no AI, no filters allowed is going to do big.
There's old code, there's dead code, there's bad code, there's new code. Where do you prioritize? What do you build? What do you fix? There's a lot of work to be done.
Every time that we get applications for people like, I'm a media buyer, I'm like, and show me what else you can do, because it's all the buttons and the triggers are really going away. And
media buyers are a thing of the past. RIP media buyers.
The stick it in method is, for the most part, like generally speaking, you assume that you're not sleeping with an individual on the first date. Just like with ads, you're not getting a conversion on the first date.
AI Marketing Podcast.
Welcome, Lauren. This is our second pod together. Lauren, as you guys know from the first one, she is the founder and CMO of Mongoose Media.
I am.
What's up? How are you?
Super good. Súper bien.
Muy bien.
Muy bien.
¿Te gusta Medellín?
Oh, claro. Yes.
How long have you been here so far?
3-4 weeks.
Yeah. And what do you think? Amazing city, right?
Amazing city. I don't know how I'm supposed to go home.
Well, maybe you'll just move here. That's what happened to me.
Fair. I mean, it's faster for me to come here from Orlando than it is for me to get to Miami.
Faster for you, meaning driving.
Driving to Miami can be 4.5 hours. Flying to here from Orlando is like 3 hours and change.
I mean, driving is not a lot of fun. That flight from Colombia to the US is so chill, very easy. Honestly, most of the time I forget that I'm in a foreign country. I just think that I'm in the United States all the time, because anytime I fly to an event, it's like 3 to 5 and 6 hours away. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
It's pretty easy. So you'll get used to that.
Fair.
So we did a pod about, it was at the GHL conference, right? Like
October?
About October, right? So Mongoose Media is turning 8 in March. Congratulations. Yes. Great success at the agency. Lauren's gotten a lot of accolades for being super data-driven with her growth strategies at the agency. She was a former Disney innovation producer and is also the co-host of the Perpetual Traffic Pod. Yeah. And a recognized leader in digital innovation. So thanks for being here. Fun note about her, she only drinks water out of wine glasses. We don't know why, but that's the way it goes. And she works with some big brands in the wine industry and with vineyards, as well as some higher ed clients and course creators. So in our previous pod, we spent a long time talking about your view, which blew up on YouTube when we published it, which is that media buyers are a thing of the past, RIP media buyers. Tell me about how that transformation's affected the agency. How is that shifting your team?
Well, we don't have media buyers anymore. We had this like huge shift where if you believe that your role is just media buying, if you're only living inside the app, then we don't have that role for you. Everyone's a growth strategist now, and you can have an obsession over one channel or one category of search or social or something like that. But we had to really drive it home that your responsibility lies after the click as much as it does before the click. And that contribution, like we are really clear that before you spend $1, you have to make sure the data and the destination are super lined up, or it's not going to work. And 2 individuals couldn't get on board with that method. And every time that we get applications for people like, I'm a media buyer, I'm like, and show me what else you can do, because it's all the buttons and the triggers are really going away. And at least for Meta, because that's where I am the most obsessed with, just more and more stuff is coming that is irrelevant for the media buying side, but imperative for the growth strategy side. So it's Meta's bringing into platform huge insights that can drive greater growth for a business or a brand that doesn't have anything to do with which audience you're targeting or how your campaign is set up.
Right. With Andromeda, they remove those targeting settings. They want you to just go creative based. So based on your creative, Meta's going to figure out who your audience should be.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not so happy about that online, but it seems to be working for Meta. 2 days ago, they had their earnings and it was a blowout, which I appreciated for my portfolio. Thanks, Meta. Thanks, Zuck. But they beat their estimates for Q4. It was almost, I think, $60 billion in Q4 of revenue. And then for Q1, what's a couple billion amongst friends? And then Q1, they raised their guidance as well. So they're killing it. The actual numbers here. So impressions are up 18%. And what's interesting, they're in this Goldilocks thing where CPMs are up only 6%, but surprising that even though there's more
Compared to what?
impressions,
6% compared to Q3
year
or
over
year over
year.
year? Okay.
Yeah. So that's interesting because normally with more impressions, you see CPMs go down.
Yeah, they've historically, like from 2024 to 2025, there's like a 24 to 30% increase on CPMs. We had done some like look at of how was Black Friday comparison. So we were like 6%. I'm like, compared to what? But okay.
Across the whole platform globally,
Okay.
but probably for US advertisers, it could be more. Obviously, the devil's in the details. But the revenue grew 24% year over year, which is super impressive for a platform at their scale. And I think also kind of interesting because I wouldn't have expected that impressions would have grown that much year over year.
Really?
Because I spend less time on meta platforms than I did before.
Do you count WhatsApp as a meta platform?
Yeah, I do. But I don't see any ads in my WhatsApp.
Okay.
Have they started running ads there yet?
You can run ads. It's very specific to different regions. But the other component of like you have ads or WhatsApp as an extension. So you can do messenger-based campaigns. So you leverage WhatsApp to communicate. So you can have WhatsApp as a destination.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Well, we've had a lot of success using WhatsApp for automations and engaging with people. It's so much more dynamic than a text message
Sure.
because you get to structure it in a way that you want and invite them to click on certain actions.
Sure.
And
But
so
you
it's
get
a much
limited. You only
more-
get 10,000 people in a group. So we've had clients that are like rather big celebrities in the music space, and you can't have more than 10,000 people in a group. So it's like this huge, oh, I want to be in your private community. And Meta's not there yet.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm like, I love it for everything but their limitations.
Group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4.
Yeah.
You can, carve it up with automations, but it's just, I think it's cool how they're reinvigorating the SMS landscape and what SMS is.
Sure.
And I think like one of the things we're going to be trying this year is we're going to be trying to take our onboarding systems and trying to create automations in WhatsApp for people that are signing up for our platform to engage them through WhatsApp instead of SMS. So I'll report back and let you know how it goes.
Amazing, especially for when you launch ads in Spanish and communicate to the community.
Yeah, I mean, you told me to do that, and we gotta talk about all this stuff. So, first of all, since we last spoke, what's new? Like, what are you seeing that's shifting in the meta ads landscape? Anything that surprised you this Black Friday as well with your clients?
I think what surprised me was the not surprise. So because of how late Black Friday was and how long the period was, there was just so much offer fatigue. So I think what surprised me with my clients was the refusal to create a different, unique offer for leading up to Black Friday, and that they were okay with maintaining the same offer for the entire month of November and expecting it to work better than it has in the years past. So I think like that's like my biggest shift for Black Friday, where like it happens like every 4 years because it's after Thanksgiving. So when it's late, it's always just this like huge offer fatigue. And the best things are always where you're like transparent up front, especially if you're e-commerce, like, hey, week 1, you get a bundle, week 2, you get 20% off, week 3, you get gift with purchase. And then Black Friday is the best deal, period. But you might not have as much inventory available.
Okay.
But that takes more work, more coordination and resources.
More creatives too.
More creatives. But that's where, again, the media buyer doesn't exist anymore because the media buyer has to be a growth strategist and contribute to the creatives. You have to give insight into which creatives are working and have a greater pulse on that part. So yeah, it does demand more creatives, but no more than what's expected for the media landscape. I can say other campaigns that were pleasantly surprising. So I have like this like horseman strategy where we do micro budgets, top of funnel campaigns that have macro impacts to the bottom of funnel campaigns. And so like small things such as, spending, I don't know, $40 a day on a $4,000 a day budget, sending people to your Instagram profile. You can start growing an audience really cost effectively, but we have seen cost per lead go down 20, 30% as soon as we implement some of that campaigns. If you have a really heavy content strategy, especially for Black Friday, like leading up to Black Friday to build that retargeting list. So like September, October, doing the lead generation, doing like driving traffic to high value content on your websites has just created an easier audience to retarget to so that you don't have to spend as much when Black Friday is a bloodbath for new customer acquisition.
Got it. So you were telling your clients to over-index on campaigns just to create retargeting audiences.
Yes. Yeah. So what's great? Okay. So what's new-ish? I mean, it's not that new, but it did come out last year. There's audience definitions. So it has nothing to do with like the targeting side, but you go into ad account settings and you can do engaged audiences and existing customers' audiences. And the amount of times I look into ad accounts that didn't set these up boggles my mind. Because when you set these up and you're
Let me
running,
go check my ad account.
yeah, like open it up right now. When you do any type of sales campaigns, you're allowed to then do a breakdown by demographic that will then tell you through Attribution's new audience, engaged audience, or existing customers. So then you can see verbatim the money that Meta is dispersing across your audience. So when you define the audience, it takes 30 seconds to do. When you define the audience at the ad account level, you can then see that Meta is going to distribute the money. We just took over an account and the client was like, there's nothing we can do to retarget. And I said, well, Meta doesn't know who is retargeting. Like, no, yeah, we upload our customer list, we exclude this, we say build all these things. And within 2 days of us setting up the audience definitions, they then had 10% of their budget automatically being brought into a retargeting list. Before it would say unknown, you could argue like, oh, well, maybe they were doing it, but the client had never seen any repeat business, had never seen any engagement. It was just new, which sounds good, except for their NCAC is like way too high.
Right. What's your perspective, like creative theory? When you think about ads, a lot of people have a tendency to overfixate on like one creative. Oh, that's the creative that brought them in. But actually, it's a story. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's not just one creative. It's all the creatives that they saw.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to just click on the first ad and then buy. Some people don't get that.
Maybe. I mean, you'll have your like Hail Mary moments. So I do the creative diversification in 2 buckets. So one is the Baskin-Robbins model. So, Baskin-Robbins and their 31 flavors.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
I really like butter pecan.
Oh, okay.
I'm an old soul.
That's okay. Your favorite is
No
butter
raisins.
pecan. That's fair. But mine, you'll probably hate. Like I want a double scoop. I want one that's like a chocolate hazelnutty kind of infusion. And then I want a creamy mango sorbet. And then I'll do like a raspberry sauce with gummy bears. That's my ice cream.
Holy shit, Lauren.
That's not butter pecan.
That is so insane. Where can you go to even get that?
You create it. I mean, you can find it in most places, but I like having a chocolate and fruit combo. I'm never going to do it. Like I eat Skittles.
This podcast sponsored by Cold Stone Creamery.
Oh my gosh.
Just kidding.
Absolutely. So like you and I have our own unique flavors of ice creams that we care for.
Yeah.
Right. So you create a bunch of ads because you might have a home run. You might be presented with a butter pecan ice cream. But if I see butter pecan, I'm like, oh, not my vibe. It won't resonate with me, but I'm like, oh, okay, you have ice cream. So if you create all these different ones, you might have that home run where you find my unique flavor of ice cream and your unique flavor of ice cream. You create the options to try to provide the customer with their ideal flavor of ice cream.
Yeah.
But when you don't present yourself with butter pecan and you present yourself then in the other method, which is like I call it the stick it in method, essentially like you're trying to date someone for, let's say it takes 7 days before you're able to stick it in.
What do you mean by stick it in? Check the show notes. We'll explain that reference for those of you.
Yeah. You can see the ads on it for Pornhub that we run, the whole piece where we go there. Anyways, okay, so the stick it in method is for the most part, like generally speaking, you assume that you're not sleeping with an individual on the first date. Just like with ads, you're not getting a conversion on the first date.
Depends on your game. I mean, it depends on a lot of factors.
Okay, well, in the way that my story goes, we're going to assume that it's 7 dates.
Okay.
But whether
7 dates? Wow.
Oh, I never kissed on the first date. So, okay, anyways, we're assuming 7. Make it 3, make it 5. It doesn't matter. For the most part, though, it's like you go on a date with someone, say, like you go out for sushi, then you go to a circus, and then you go for a walk in the park, and then you have all these dates combined. And then on the 7th date, because you did Netflix and chill, you got to stick it in. But it's not because of the Netflix and chill. It's the combination of all of the other dates that you've had together that grew into, I feel safe and I feel ready to advance this part of our relationship.
Yeah.
Same thing with the ad. So you have these incrementally impacting someone's awareness. Like
this is really good dating advice. I think our community is going to really love this. It's going to help a lot of people. I'm a big fan of the stick it in method when it's appropriate, if it's available. But we actually call this, and Justin Rondeau, and he's going to love this, by the way. Justin Rondeau is our head of marketing and epic, amazing human and epic marketer as well. He's like a legend. And Justin, our team, we call it Content Jeopardy. Right?
Content Jeopardy.
Content Jeopardy.
Okay.
And we have this awareness, like we understand that our audience, different psychographic profiles.
Sure.
Like you call it the Baskin-Robbins 31. We call it content Jeopardy. And so we kind of know people, some people are analytical, right? I know you're very analytical. They're interested in the numbers, the data, the metrics.
Yeah.
They want to see the charts. Some people are more aspirational. They want to know, what is this going to get me to? How is this going to transform my life?
Yeah.
Some people are more emotional, where they want to have an emotional connection to a person and a story, and they want you to lead them on that human journey.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other dimensions to this. And so when you create your ads, you create them to align to that psychographic profile.
Sure.
Same product, same story. And so what we do is we've got each psychographic profile in a grid on the left. And then on the top, we've got each of the products or the services that we want to advance, we want to sell. And we build a creative asset for each one. And we don't know which one's going to be the double Jeopardy, which one's going to be, the real home run creative, which one's going to really resonate the best.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is the 10X creatives, you just put 10X the budget or 100X the budget on them and they'll perform. Some of them, you don't turn them off. You keep running them.
You never turn them off.
Because to your point, as you said, on the 7-date journey,
It's the incrementality.
It's the incrementality. You have to slowly come into the story. And some people, they don't just have like that one love language with their ads. They've got two, and they need both in order for them to finally resonate and click. And so, yeah, it's a really powerful framework. I think a lot of Facebook strategists don't fully understand that aspect of Facebook ads. So I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm also curious, when we talk about Facebook creative, what is your team's approach to building creative? Like, have you guys stepped into using AI to build creative assets? Are you guys building them in Canva? Are you guys doing more video ads? What's that look like at Mongoose?
Everything in between. It's
All of it?
all of the above. I personally like AI when it's AI obvious. We've done a lot of like some of the best successful campaigns for e-commerce. It's annoying, but it's AI and AI. So you have an AI person in the front with AI in the background. So the foreground AI is like saying like, hey, like, look at this. And so then you have like an AI background person who's like a professional speaker speaking on a podcast or some sort of giving credible information and looking credible. And then you have a non-credible, but like more human-looking individual in the foreground. So those do really well.
Wait, so like real content, real media in the background, and AI in the foreground?
No, it's AI background, AI foreground.
Both AI. Okay.
Both AI. So you make like the best ones are when you have AI create a human that's not obviously the successful person, but you have like an individual who's like experienced and they have a different background. Like, do not use a blonde or brunette 34-year-old woman. You use like a beautiful 64-year-old dark black woman.
Right.
You use
an Indian man with a beard
and gray in the beard. Like you show experience on the AI person in the background, them walking as if they're speaking on a stage. You don't know what stage they're speaking on. Well, they're not speaking on any stage. It's all AI. But you're showing them as a person of authority. Mm-hmm. And then you have someone that's like a regular individual, right? Maybe they have pimples on their face. Maybe, it's a mom without a lot of makeup on. It's not an AI filtered person. It looks more like real people.
Yeah.
But it's still AI background, AI foreground.
Interesting.
And you're just taking a concept like, so maybe if you're like talking about an ingredient, you're talking about like the history of why snail mucin has been a Korean ingredient for 4 dynasties. Mm-hmm. And so it looks like someone's giving a TED talk on like the characteristics of snail mucin and how it's carried. Mucin? Oh, it's the sticky underside of a snail.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's
something new
the
every
sticky
day.
icky. That allows, so a snail can glide across a concrete parking lot, right? And you think of like their underbelly is as soft as the inside of your lip. Would you imagine throwing your lip, dragging it across a concrete?
Good, no,
not at all. But there's so much moisturizer that it gives a barrier that allows them to glide over.
Dude, snails are pretty cool, actually. Shout out to snails.
Yeah. Shout out to snails. That'll be the name of the podcast. So like, anyways, you have like an individual who's like talking about the history, you're talking about stuff that's true, but you're doing it in a way that provides authority. And then a regular person being like, oh my gosh, have you seen this? Trying to blow up the AI created person in the background.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's how a lot of questions about this. How did you experiment your way to find that?
I hacked it from someone else who grew a supplement brand of $15 million in a year. And that was their entire use case. They just created background and foreground, AI-centered content. I saw their presentation, we replicated it, and it worked.
Amazing.
So like, that's the part of AI I don't love. And like in a perfect world, like we need to get into a place where if it's AI, it's more clear. Like there's a virgin social media app coming for sure, because people are tired of filters, people are tired of AI, and they're tired of being tricked. So whoever comes out with like a virgin social media app that like no AI, no filters allowed is going to do big. That's my like Madame Leota prediction moment.
Yeah.
But I don't love those. I like when it's like obvious AI, when you've got like cute little chickadees that are talking and explaining your program or explaining the benefits of your product.
Okay.
Or like a photo shoot where it's like you have like neon lights and it's super grunge, or like, you know, that it's not real and you get to like bring in a really beautiful AI aesthetic.
Yeah.
Into that. So I love those type of ads. Of course we use Canva. Of course we use like Adobe After Effects. We've been using a team where we actually hire actors now. So a lot of people like UGC, we cycle in founder-led videos. But what's doing really well in 2026, if there's like one hack for anyone to take, is like if you hire actors again. Because when you get UGC or you get people that are like passionate about it, it's hard to convey that same level of passion. And our phones have 4K cameras in them. So we use a talent scout, recruit actors to do a bid for us. So what would have been a $30,000 to $100,000 commercial shoot before can now be like $2,000, $3,000. And you get an actor to shoot and have the level of enthusiasm and talk about a product in a way that actors can do really, really well. And it's like extracting it from your loyal customers and from the founder if they're camera shy it's hard, and it shows in the performance.
And you think that authenticity makes us more likely to buy into their message? Do you think it's the rough around the edges aspect of it that works, or?
Well, like when we're using like the UGC and like the founders, the rough around the edges gets you so far, but you're going to be like, oh, it feels authentic. But again, in that like 7-date system, it's like one layer. Right. You still want someone that's going to like hook you in and connect emotionally with the story. Like there's different behaviors, but so those are things that are working well. But like the most part, like at Mongoose Media, we have a creative strategist on every account. What we do is every Friday there's a performance review, and we look at each product in each funnel, and then we see what's working, what's not working. We only care about exceptions. So I don't care about what's in the middle. I need exceptions.
Right.
So the things that
exceptional ads and the worst ads.
Yeah,
you want it for every account.
For every funnel.
For every funnel. Okay.
So it's not on the account, it's on a funnel basis.
Got it.
So like we say net new concepts and iterations for every client, a set number depending on where they are in their investment with Mongoose Media. And so then we'll look and we're like, okay, looking at all of the funnels, here's the ad that's doing the best, here's the ads that's doing the worst. Then we look at the campaigns in whole, like which products need more help or which products do we like want to double down on. So then we'll make net new concepts where we're like, brand new idea, throw it on the wall. We have no idea if it's going to work. But then we have to make like twice as many iterations where we take us a winner and then we say, how do we iterate from it? So if say there's a podcast, like hijacking one, because those were really big last year. You'd have 2 people in a fake podcast talking about like, oh my gosh, did you hear about like, you know, it's like really hard to walk outside and it's raining and like you slip and your pedicure gets destroyed and you're talking as if you're on a podcast and like, what? Like, oh my gosh, I just tried this. You guys should sponsor this podcast because it's totally good. Right. And you're talking about it and it feels genuine. It feels authentic. That fake podcast did really, really well last year. And so say that was doing really well now. You're like, okay, well, let's take that podcast. Let's iterate. Maybe we change it so it's a podcast not about an Indian man and a blonde woman. Right. And now we're doing like 2 Hispanic women, or maybe we're doing 2 aliens, and we're still trying that podcast method to see if the iteration also performs as well.
Fascinating. It's so interesting. And so it seems like creative is like the ultimate potential unlock in the ad strategy, getting outside the box, not playing by the rules.
But it's always been that way. We just had a few years, like I'd say a decade in all of advertising where people hacked their way to this like one-click upsell mentality. So I think like for the history of advertising, it's always been creative.
So is this taking us more into the, Don Draper mode of, the old days of just brilliant billboard advertising, creative messages that connect versus away from more technical marketing?
Yeah. Well, I think like the tactical side, it's like we had a trust recession that really hit hard in 2023. And now we have this like AI boom where it's easy to create new levels of content. It's easy to create diversity of options. So I think users want to be entertained.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to grab this clip and send it to my wife, who is also kind of our CMO, COO, both, because I had the idea, and I'm curious your take on this. I love South Park. Like,
Okay.
I'm a big fan. Do you like South Park?
Who killed Kenny?
Yeah. We still don't know. But you're a fan? You like South Park?
Oh, I don't watch it religiously. Like, I'm a big reader, and obviously, like, my genre of choice is smut. No surprise there,
Okay.
right?
No
So
judgment.
you could judge away. You read my Goodreads, and that's the most important social media profile. If anyone's like, oh, let me see what they're really like, read their Goodreads history.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I know this person deeper than I thought I did.
I live in the cave, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Just going to
Okay.
go Google that after this.
That's fine. Like,
Yeah.
so I like South Park. As profane as I am, I'm like equally as religious. And so every time there's a like Catholic episode, I'll get like 6 or 7 people DMing me anything about it. So I enjoy South Park. I think it's
Okay.
great humor. I just don't subscribe, but I'll watch it. I love it.
Yeah. So when you think about your audience and you think about their affinities,
Uh-huh.
you think about what they like to watch, what are they entertained by?
Yeah.
That's the power of like the meme lord.
Oh,
Meme
yeah.
lord like connects to something in the collective consciousness with a
Mm.
message that is of the moment and timely, and also like just slices through the conversation in a way. That's the genius of like the best meme lords on the internet.
Yeah.
And so for social media ads, what we found last year was that some of our best creatives, they were actually memes.
Okay.
We'd spent a lot of time with our teams and like memeing up and coming up with creative concepts that were more meme oriented, and they slayed. They just like crushed it.
Amazing.
And it was hard to really project which was going to land, and sometimes unexpected things. Like we had an ad of a caveman. Like I'll put that in the
Okay.
link. It's awesome. I love this ad. It's a caveman trying to get more people for his like Stone Age business.
Okay. Yes.
And so it was the story of how he discovered Search Atlas and AI and automation and how he grew his business, right? And it's like a 60-second AI generated story ad of this like cartoon caveman,
Okay.
entirely built with AI, of
Yeah.
course, but a great creative concept that was executed well,
Uh-huh.
not AI slop. And it connected, it hit something,
Yeah.
and people found it funny and they saw the personality behind our brand. And
Amazing.
so I think that's really inspiring, right? Like to get brands off their ass instead of running, this is our product
Oh,
in
geez.
a
It's the
box.
vanilla
and-
flavor. It's like when we talk about ice cream, like no one really chooses vanilla as their favorite flavor, but so many people just make vanilla ads. Here's my product, buy it now.
Yeah.
Like there's no storytelling, there's no connection. When again, I was 4 accidents away from being the CEO. So I'm very grateful for the position I had at Disney and the exposure of a lot of stuff that we had from Creative
I'm
Wise.
sure they loved you.
Oh,
They had to have
there's
for you
no
to
choice.
get to that level. Yeah.
I was like a Disney princess with curse words. But the component of like, when you think of what does Disney sell?
Yeah.
They sell memories.
Mhm.
You're making memories. And you have the largest single site employer in North America is in Orlando, Florida, where Walt Disney World Parks and Resorts are.
Really?
Largest single site employer. And it all started from a mouse, a storytelling character that evolved into multiple disciplines within a company. Storytelling and creating memories is why Disney has been able to survive and blow up in a way. Like, I don't know if you've been following like on TikTok, like High School Musical is celebrating like their 20th year this year. And Disney Plus, the streaming network, released 52 different clips. So they made the whole show public and they did this community of sharing the stories of here's High School Musical. And as they would release it, you would be watching in real time and engaging. It was like this like live watch party and people were connecting with the community because it was storytelling. It wasn't just telling the story of Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens connecting together, like all in this together. It was the stories of all the communities and how they were co-sharing in this experience. Sorry, I know that's like getting a little bit off topic, but I think like the idea of like your caveman story and that really connecting and share more, I would push you to do more in that caveman of iterations. Cause like for Acuity scheduling, like our best ad that we ever created for them was like, we did your scheduling appointments on your calendar like a caveman. And so we would draw like a comic strip of someone being like, next Tuesday, where is it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like lean in more on the caveman if that worked. And then another iteration to be is, who is another person? Like, can you do a Martian or like an alien landing on Earth and being like, oh, this is what I've discovered. I understand everything so much more about Search Atlas. Or can you do like babies connecting together? Like what other storytelling can you do that isn't the everyday person?
Right.
That's how I would iterate deeper if
Beautiful.
it did so well.
And from more of like a technical perspective, what's your favorite model for generating that video content? Which one do you think is the most adept at creating those concepts into real video frame animation?
That would be for the creative services team, because I'm lucky I don't have to do any of that stuff, but we do pay for quite a few software tools. Nano Banana is like blowing up on Slack a lot right now, just for like the easy, but I know that like there's some stuff they've been doing like N8N and Kling, but that goes into like a technical expertise where I'm like, oh, I'm not the smartest one in the room for that one.
Well, and it's always changing. So it's not a lot of fun to have to constantly be at the bleeding edge of that and testing new models. And some prompts, they work well in one context and not another. And, you know, there are these leaderboards of which model is the best.
Sure.
But I think that they're so flawed because there's not one objective criteria that you evaluate a model on that works for everyone. Like the way that I use that LLM is going to be totally different than the way someone else does.
For sure.
And so I'm optimizing it differently than they are. And so you kind of have to test them out and see what you get.
Yeah. And it's like the one that you use the most is the one that works the best, whether you're using like Asana or Trello or ClickUp. It's always going to be the tool you're most comfortable with. Yeah. But like I keep going back to like this caveman idea that you had. Like, you know why that did so well and why it was an AI slap? I bet your team invested so much time building that story that it would have been the same time as like if you had been creating the graphic. I don't know if it's true for you, but I put more time in any AI prompt than I've ever had before. And every month it gets longer and longer. Like my prompt isn't a single like, oh, here's my one prompt. No, my prompt is a 20 or 30-minute sparring match back and forth with AI until we arrive at what I'm actually looking for. And so I bet you that there was so much more time and intention spent into it, so that when you have a great designer or you have someone that leverages the power of AI, it's like doing math with a calculator. It's way faster than long division.
Totally. And so what's the role in competitor research and looking at the competitors' ads today? Do you find that your team does that still, or do you guys more just try to come like blank slate and approach things from like first principles?
Great question. So I don't love looking at competitors' ads. I still love Facebook ads library, and like I love seeing what like Carpe, it's a deodorant brand. Like if you want to have creative inspiration, Casper Hussey had like, he spends 2 full days as a founder doing creative. Like that's what he knows drives the needle. So like I love it for inspiration, but I don't like stealing from competitors. Where I like stealing is making, and I got this from Michael Lim, creating a YouTube channel or creating a social media account of your avatar or one of your avatars, right? So you have like the emotional person, you have your content Jeopardy board. You should have 5 different YouTube channels where you build the content. You spend like 20, 30 minutes subscribing to every channel that you think that person would do. And then you start to look at what they're seeing in the marketplace. So I'm not stealing what the competitors are doing. I'm stealing what my avatars are seeing.
Right.
So if the type of content that they're leaning into is like Caveman podcast style podcast, then that's what I'm going to use. So I'm not stealing competitors because I don't care about the competitors. I care about my customers.
Right. You care about the audience and what messages are resonating with them right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. And that's changing. That changes over time.
Yeah.
Really cool. So I'm also curious if you've seen this. We definitely have noticed that with our creative, it used to be we could get away with 20, 30, 40 pieces of creative. And now we feel like we have to create a way larger creative library because the creatives with Andromeda, the audience targeting is so focused on the creative that it just burns out faster than it did before.
Like creative fatigue, I think is still the hardest on TikTok. But I think like with Meta and with Andromeda, like when people go to creative fatigue, I think people forget that you can have diversity of creative with a different format, which is like you have static, you have video, which are reels, and you can do carousels. So you can take a creative concept that's doing well and then just put it into a different format. Or you can take it and like bring in a different audience for it. Like I think what I've seen in like bigger ad accounts is they hire the same people. Again, I go back to like that 30-year-old, 34-year-old brunette, blonde, pretty person being in the ads. That's not your real customer. Your customer might be a Fijian mom. Your customer might be like a Filipino aunt who's adopted her 4 nephews. Like connecting with like real humans and bringing that into the lens of creative diversity. Yes, there are demands. I don't think it's the same level of creative fatigue that you have on TikTok. I think it's the hit or miss of creative where I don't feel that someone's found my unique flavor of ice cream yet.
Got it. Makes sense. So let's shift gears. Let's talk about a big transformation happening this year with AI agents and how marketing is evolving with our use of these technologies. Curious, as you look ahead for the rest of the year and you see use of tools like Claude Code, as well as people using Andromedas in their creative studios. What do you think is going to change on the ad platforms themselves as far as the competitive landscape? How do you think it's going to recraft that landscape?
What do I think is going to change on the platforms? I'll lean more into Meta specific of what I've seen them doing is you now have in Meta, so brand new, it's not even on most ad accounts yet. Again, in the breakdown at the ads manager level, you can break down by attribution and you can see first conversions and all conversions. And what this says is, say someone signs up for a product within Search Atlas. And they sign up for a webinar or they sign up for some type of lead magnet. And then you have, let's say, 2,000 attributed conversion events for that. You can see that of the 2,000, 1,500 are first conversions, which means the next 500 are secondary. It's part of the all conversions, to which then 25% of your audience signed up again within a 7-day attribution period. So in Nerd Speak or whatever, it's a lot of extra data that we've never seen before. And I know that Meta hears how frustrated they are that Conversions API doesn't have all the data. If you're in financial industry, if you are in health and wellness, or if you're in politics, you are not allowed to track a lot of the things you've been able to track before. Meta hears you and being like, I get it. You want more insight into what's converting in the data. They're kind of this do you want conversions or do you want data? Do you want conversions or do you want control? And I think in 2026, they're bringing more visibility than they have before. Flexible format, you can see which ads are performing well, which you couldn't for years. Seeing first conversions versus all conversions is huge. And I think what's more going to come into is the incrementality approach. So you can see, don't turn off ads that don't have direct attribution that's performing well. Meta turns them off. If Meta turns it off, they're saying, I don't believe this is a good ad. Bring in more to the conversation. Yeah. But you keep them on. And I think it's going to show you incremental growth. And I think that's coming to ads manager within Meta specifically, because it makes sense with everything else they've been publishing. And they have to overcome the narrative, the necessity for a triple whale, the necessity for a Hyros or a Northbeam or whatever tool you're using, because Meta's data isn't good enough. So I think in 2026, with how they have the agentic stuff, they'll be able to bring more of that face forward in the ads manager available to the growth specialists on the account.
Interesting. How do you think the agents themselves, obviously this is a huge issue in search because so many search queries can and will be performed agentically. Even today, when we think about search, when you go to Google and you use AI mode, there's actually between 40 and maybe 150 searches being performed behind the scenes to do more granular level comparisons for whatever it is you search for. So you could be searching for something like best CRM software, and you'll end up with a search happening under the hood of Salesforce versus HubSpot.
Yeah.
And it's looking at those comparison articles and studying that content and synthesizing it to give you one answer. And so even though you're not getting a click, even though you're not getting an impression directly, you are influencing the answer indirectly because of that additional query, fan out query that's taking place, right?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting on the search side how this agentic experience that's taking place under the hood is evolving let's say the calculus and the strategy behind search. But we can only imagine that agentic experience is going to continue to evolve. We're going to see more of it. And eventually we as humans, there will be an agentic interface between us and our messages, right? Already last week we saw Claude Bot come out and then they had to rebrand to something else, right? And that is surely a sign of the times of how our interface between the outside world and our brains is going to become more filtered by agents than it currently is, where we're not going to have to. I personally don't like going through all my WhatsApp messages and all my SMS messages, and I get so much inbound on a daily basis. It's very overwhelming. I've got a team that helps me manage all of it, but I still want it to be me, right? And so I think what we'll see is there will be more agents that are actually consuming the content from social networks and social channels.
Yes.
And I'm curious, your take on how do you think that's going to affect what happens inside Meta from an attribution standpoint, from an analytics standpoint?
I love this so much because of Gem. Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, has said, it's not about whether it's an ad or organic, it's content. At the end of the day, it's content. So agentic experiences of them pulling from your Facebook page and pulling from your Instagram posts and pulling from your DMs, that stuff is absolutely going to be brought forth in the way that Andromeda, the ads retrieval engine, is going to see which option is best for you, because it's going to be able to know more about you and more about your interactions because of what you're posting and what you're discussing. Because on Facebook, right, like, or on Instagram or wherever, what you're posting is what you want the world to think about you. And then what you're DMing is what you actually think, right? Or like which reels you're sending to someone is more about what you actually think versus what you're putting out to the world. So the Agentic will be able to understand the difference between those two. But if you're a small business owner, if you're a brand or a creator, all of the content that you have ever created is now fair game. So in that whole like search that all these, agents are pulling and trying to understand which is the best, it's going to pull from the history of everything you've ever created versus in the past, it's been limited to only the ads. But now your entire experience across the Meta entities are going to support your ad efforts, which in that could mean for the business owner, the creator, Meta's going to say, software is probably like Search Atlas will say, here's a content gap. Here's what people are searching for. And there's a content gap for this, just as a lot of people do for YouTube content. So, hey, your audience is looking for this. Hint, hint, and give creative direction on content you need to make versus having to guess it. And then for the user, you're going to have more relevant content put in front of you because you're not, I think what's going to happen in the next like 9 to 12 months is business owners aren't even going to have to create as many ads. The creative demands are going to be hard. You'll be able to create a stronger moat if you create those like caveman style, like high production, but not like production film wise, like this whole setup, but production, like mental production.
Creative, yeah.
So like someone had said like, what is the AI effort required? If I can get that same video from a single prompt, your AI effort score is like 0 to 1.
Right.
But that caveman story probably had an AI effort score that was exceedingly
Very, very
high.
high. Yeah.
Right. So I think like with Agentic for the user, it's going to be great because you're not going to see an ad of whoever paid the best. You're going to see an ad from the company that supports the overall intent of what you're trying to get. And then from the brand, you're going to have Meta AI prompt you with stuff that's going to help you grow your brand. Like right now they are testing, AI is creating videos for you, using your ads and using your content to make the videos for you, which is amazing. But then imagine you like this is why like media buyers won't exist. You'll be able to toggle a button that says, hey, like Meta, I trust you. You have all of my Instagram posts. You have all of my Facebook posts. You have all of my ad content. If you know there's a content gap, use my stuff and make it better version for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the huge opportunity for brands and businesses out there to use AI to fill the content gap. But it sounds like what you're saying is the cues for what those gaps are, we're going to be getting those cues directly from the ad platform.
Yeah.
They're going to tell us, hey, this is what you need to do. They're giving us
those cues now by like they've been doing, Meta AI has been prompting the text to use. So they're saying, hey, like you can do 5 primary text, 5 headlines, or you can add an additional 5, which are ones that we created. Now you can say like, maybe they're just guessing, but I have to think with billions and billions of dollars behind everything that they're seeing, their guesses could be better than mine.
For sure. And they have access to everyone's data. They know what's people are clicking on and all that data is like,
but also what your conversations are saying. Because if I'm messaging you, like I'm telling you more intimately than when I'm putting publicly on a comment.
Yeah.
Comment might be like, yeah, I want that guitar. But then like in between us, you're saying like, yeah, but I really want to make sure that it looks good in my office.
Right.
Here's a picture. So all that's just extra stuff that an agent within the ecosystem can read that a media buyer or anyone else doesn't have the time to sort through it. So that's just so much more valuable information that Meta, I know, is going to be giving us as the brands and as the creators to leverage. And then you can do with it as you see fit. Meta will create it for you and do stuff. But that's where like, I don't think like creative services and like all that's going away. Like a media buyer has to be able to contribute because you build still higher quality content, I think is going to beat Meta AI and platform AI for at least 2 or 3 years because they have to be subjective to like national, federal, state, local laws. They have to tiptoe around a lot more stuff that you can create faster than they can do because they have to keep up with legislation.
Yeah. There's 2 things that I'm critical on Meta about. We talked about this. One of them last time was just when you put the pixel on the site, that thing is very, very dangerous. You put the pixel on your website and now your competitors are going to retarget your audience. They're going to know that,
yes,
Lauren's in market. She landed on my website. She's in market for this product. And if you're not running ads, your competitors who will get the benefit of knowing that, Lauren,
Yeah.
you're interested in actually buying this product
Fair.
now. And so if you're using the pixel, you better be running ads, right? For sure. I think that is not clearly communicated to the people that install the pixel, that there is a duality to it.
Sure.
And I think that Meta needs to be actually better about clarifying how they use that data. And honestly, I think they should only be using your audience data for your benefit.
I disagree because I think like it's such a joy to be able to tap into, like, you're right. If it's my pixel, I want first right of refusal. So
why should we allow our audience to be sequestered by our competitors?
Because the audience wants the best experience to find the product or service they're looking for. So why do we get to own that?
But it's not Meta's right to use my data, that's my first party data, on what's happening inside my platform and my audience. It's not like, that is my right, my audience that I've built. And Meta should not be allowed to use that is to do something that is against my business's best interest.
You can tap it into, because it's fair play, because it's for everyone. I would think that, like, if you were to do an exclusion, I'd say for any traffic that Meta didn't directly contribute to. But if you are running ads and you get people to click and engage and visit your website, and that person came from a Meta entity, I think it's fair game, because that's Meta's first party data.
It's Meta's first party data, sure. But it's really more the retargeting data that I have, right? From people on my platform, people that are using our technology. And it's not just me. This is like really everyone out there. So to your point, yeah, it is fair play because I get to do this to my competitors.
You get to do the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's great for Meta because now, instead of having one person running ads on this particular person who's in market or using the technology, there's way more advertisers. So
but think about how this for the user.
CPMs.
The user's like, I want to buy a guitar. And then Meta ideally is going to serve them the first person that they interact with, or whoever paid most. And if you don't excite me, I get to see other options. It's like you go to the mall. And so maybe someone's going to the mall because they want to go to this one specific experience, or they want to find that butter pecan ice cream. But then everyone else has a chance of getting money from that person. Again, I go back to the Disney experience. Like, it was a dream was to get a monorail from the Orlando airport into Disney property. Like, Disney was going to fund it. Like, you tell us, what do we need to do? I just want to handhold someone who lands in Orlando and take them directly to park.
So they spend all their money
so that they
within the
only
park.
spend their money. Like, you can't leave. And the city of Orlando was like, absolutely not. SeaWorld, Universal, local taxis, all these other businesses would cease to exist. And so there's been like that, like, monopoly has been like, you shall not pass, you shall not collect, go, as much as Disney tries to do it. So I think, like, in that use case, if there was that direct monorail type of situation, it can be protective of the non-Meta traffic. But I still think, like, it's turnaround play. It's not that you're excluded from using that same method. And the person who's trying to buy the guitar, it's relevance and personalization for them. They want to find a solution, and their goal, Meta's goal, is to not have people leave the platform or not continue to consume. The longer you're on platform, the better your engagement, the more ads I can serve you. So I want to make sure I'm serving you relevant ads so that when you do buy a guitar, I don't have to keep shoving more guitars down your throat unless you have an abundant budget to get more and more and more.
It's good for their stock price for sure. It's just not good for, the business owner, especially who's not running the ads on Meta.
So that's the thing. Like, the business owner who's not running the ads, like you said, like, they should not do it. It's just the benefit that comes to it, though, is you can still start building an audience. So even if they came to your website and they didn't engage or interact, you can then retarget them later when you are ready to run ads, and you start to seed the pixel with data so that they can understand who is actually interested. And you have this hierarchy of data if you set up the pixel correctly, which no one does. But if you have, like, view content and search and all these standard events, like, if you're in a nonprofit and you don't have the donate standard event on your website, like, why? I don't get it. If you have, like, add to wish list, all these things can empower your data set to know more about who's your ideal customer so that you can be more efficient in your marketing when you launch ads. But again, it's a free tool. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, Meta shouldn't do it because it's free and there's no gun to the head. Like, you don't have to install it.
We got to disagree on something. I appreciate the fact that you have different perspective than me on this, and that's what makes the conversation interesting. The other thing that we got to talk about is, like, the cookie crisis and just the fact that people who are doing retargeting, most people don't know this, but Chrome between 40 and 60%, let's just split the difference, call it about half of web traffic is not able to be pixeled. And so because you can't pixel them, you can't retarget them. Because most people are using client-side JavaScript pixeling, there is a method to do it server-side so that you can get around those blocks. But almost no one that I talk to knows that this is a thing that you can do. Very, very few people know how to do server-side pixeling of your audience.
Yeah.
And even fewer people that know about it actually implement it correctly. And
Fair.
so where things are going, with agents and how this is evolving, I think like we as an industry have to get better at that. How many of your clients actually know about this?
I think it's like the kind of like that elephant in the room. Like I know it's there, but I don't understand it enough and I don't have a priority to know about it. So you fix this kind of thing. It's like, it's a delegatable thing. And it's also for some of our brands, especially our bigger ones, it's like I'm not able to change what I'm not able to change. Our company is too big. We have different departments. I don't have influence. There's red tape.
Oh, for sure.
So it's a resource restraint on both sides. So the small business owner, I don't have the time or energy to figure this out. On the corporate side, I don't have the authority to figure this out. So at the end of the day, like you're right, it's not clear enough. And so I think the business owners that are going to go more into the data side in 2026 and 2027 will have a lot of opportunity because it's such a necessity. And yeah, going towards that cookieless system, like you're right, like that's been talked about for years. So it's not like it's not going to happen. I think it's
already
hard.
here. Yeah. Chrome asks you if you want to, and about half of people, they say that they want to disable that.
I think that's generous. I think like if it's only half, that half has to be marketers. They're like, yes, please, please. Please, I want more people to allow this
Please
to
disable.
in.
I actually click that I want them to target me because I want to see the ads and I want to know what's going on online. But it is, I mean, you're right. It could be even more than 60%, but I think those stats are based on, they're based on user data panels of like Chrome extensions. I can pull the data from inside Chrome. And so who knows what the number is, but it's a big number. We're really surprised that like very few CMS platforms have that integrated. In fact, I don't think I know of a single CMS that has that capability. And so I'm also curious, like, as you see how AI is changing marketing, what CMS platforms are most of your clients using, and how do you see those CMS platforms adapting and evolving right now?
Fair. It's going to change because are you in the lead generation space or are you in the e-commerce space? Like we don't work with like SaaS, like that's not like our vibe. But for those individuals that like on it, like I think Shopify has been doing a lot, but they're all like they're handheld. I would think. I mean, I personally use High Level. I know that like people have yays and nays. It's like for me, it's
We
like
use it too,
Volvo.
yeah.
It does everything well enough, and it's not the Jaguar. Like there's other platforms that do stronger ones. I think there is an authentic want and desire to provide more of that information. I just think it goes hard because like I'm connected with like there's policy day with Meta that I get to participate in because there's legislation that has a bigger hand in this that I don't think people understand. I think the Metas and all the platforms in the world, like I want to give you this, but they're being constricted from a legal standpoint. And it's like our country is so big in the United States that like state law changes and like a small thing I remember us having to do, like if you have over 200,000 customers in the state of Montana, you have to change different market. Like I'm like not answering your question well. The CMS platforms, I don't know of any that's like, yes, we're doing well. Like there's Magento and then there's Shopify where these are massively well-funded programs for the e-commerce side, which I think are the best. I don't believe that WordPress and WooCommerce will ever catch up to them. From the high level, I think it's an authentic standpoint. I know that HubSpot like has done some stuff, but it's not their highest priority because it's not the hill that they want to die on when there's other things that they need to make stronger effort. And they're saying you, the business owner, have to take credit for this. But I think like the search thing or like even like the experience, if I'm sending paid traffic and knowing that like there's agentic experiences that are going to do a soft search or a soft deliverable of what is that ad experience like from the ad to the destination through, it's going to test it first. And I think there's going to be a need to make sure that you're accommodating for both the bot, the agent traffic, and the individual actual user.
Yeah, my perspective is I can see how this year of all years, I think we're going to see a lot of the technical debt that we were talking about before, with
Sure.
people not having conversion tracking on their site, people not having pixels installed correctly. That should become more and more a thing of the past, because instead of you having to go and do the implementation yourself, the agentic systems can go and repair that for you on your CMSs and
Okay.
improve
Sure.
those integrations. And I don't think we've really seen it happen that fast. I got to really shout out Shopify for being way ahead of the curve.
Like with the
on
meta fields,
agents.
where they give you the anticipated meta fields that they can say, I believe this is clothing. I believe that this is women's apparel. I believe this is size 7. Like they
That
prompt
stuff-
it.
that tagging there, and also their agent is absolutely brilliant. They did an amazing job building, I think, my personal opinion here, but I think they did the best in-app experience, agent experience for a CMS of any CMS I've seen.
Okay.
It's so powerful. But a lot of the CMS platforms are still lagging behind. And so now you're starting to see who are the first movers, who are kind of the later bloomers, and how
Yeah.
they're approaching the market. Everyone's got a different market segment that they're trying to serve. And, when you look at these massive software platforms that have millions and millions of lines of code, there's old code, there's dead code, there's bad code,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
new code. Where do you prioritize? What do you build? What do you fix? There's a lot of work to be done. It's just interesting now that you're starting to see in the CMS market, some people emerging as AI leaders
Mhm.
and other people pretty clearly are laggards, and they're not moving as fast as they should.
For sure. Like, and I use Shopify. It's my favorite tool of choice. But I think like when you're talking about the AI heroes, I mean, the CEO got reamed for saying, do not come to me asking for additional headcount if you can't prove that the additional headcount you want can't be replaced with AI. Like, I think he came out with that like almost 6-7 months ago, and he was like really hardcore about it. And he got so much backlash. And they're like, how dare you? Like, you're messing up jobs. He's like, prove to me that AI can't do that exact same job, and I'll give you headcount, but I'm not going to give you headcount if I can prove that AI can do it better. So I can see like them having a stronger agentic lead force, because like the gentleman, I think he's based out of Montreal, is so hyper focused on expanding to AI. But then, yeah, you look at other things, like when you look at Apple and their use case of AI, for me personally, I think it's the
good example.
biggest joke. Personally,
For sure.
you're like,
Yeah.
how are you not more evolved? And they're like, I'm going to focus on building iOS 19.67. And then, or not iOS, but an iPhone 19. And now an iPhone 19.1 and iPhone 19 1.2. Oh, here's iPhone 20. It's a different prioritization.
Yeah,
But-
it's interesting. Apple's kind of feeling a bit more like WordPress, where WordPress core was like, no, we're not going to build that feature, even though we know you want it. We'll let the plugin community go and hack on top of us and give you that
Mhm.
app instead of baking it in natively.
Mhm.
And so, on my iPhone, I never use Siri ever.
Oh my
for
gosh,
anything. But there's a bunch
Could
of
she
other
even
apps that I
understand
use.
you?
She can, despite my, American accent. She has probably like 1 in 5 times she does what I want her to do. And that just wasn't acceptable for me.
She never understands me. And then she picks up on things where I was like, I'm not talking to you at all. There's nothing related to you, Siri, in this conversation. Please shut up. Please. Like, I get so angry at Siri because when I asked for her help, she
Yeah.
doesn't understand any of the words coming out of my mouth. Like, I feel like Jackie
She just
Chan
doesn't get you.
to Eddie,
Just
to
be
Chris
careful
Tucker.
with that, because when she gets sentient, she's going to be pissed at you.
Oh.
I'm always very courteous, very like nice. Thank you, Claude. ChatGPT, really appreciate that perspective.
Oh my gosh,
Like,
can we do the
ultra
prompt where it's
nice.
like, hey chat, like, or hey Claude, or whichever tool you're using, create a picture of based off of how I treat you. Have you done
that's
that?
hilarious. No, I haven't.
We did it in a group chat. Like, we had different people on our team, and like myself, I was like a very dark position. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh. And then everyone was like, oh, like an AI chat, like an AI bot that they were hugging. I was like, yeah, my AI doesn't like me. I'm direct. I like don't want any nonsense. Give me the answer. Don't placate me. Come on.
Be careful with that. Be careful with that. You might have a tough time when Siri wakes up and she takes a humanoid robot form and starts knocking on your door and policing your usage of the prompts. And here she is. She's listening to me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she
Oh,
was
that-
listening. Siri, I love you. Even though we've had our differences, I think you're great, and your best days are ahead of you.
Have you watched the film Jeopardy?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That is what you have to watch tonight. It's an awesome film. It has Wanda Sykes, and Rose Byrne voices a Siri-like application. And then
Yeah.
it takes over, I think like Adam something, takes over like his car, and they like have a relationship, and she's like, plug it in. like out in, like she inhabits every part of his world, changes course, makes him almost in an accident.
That is awesome. Send that to me.
Yes, I will.
I want to watch that. All right. We'll keep moving through. In early February, we're going to be seeing ads in ChatGPT, Perplexity, and other AI answer engines pretty soon. How do you feel about that? Are you excited?
Ecstatic. I mean, they're quoting like $60 CPMs, and you're not going to have a lot of that conversion data you want. But like, I'm going to be an early adopter to any tool. And I know that people are going to be excited. I just know that they're not going to actually jump on it right away. So I am stoked.
So you're going to run ads for your clients on there?
Absolutely.
As soon as it comes out.
We like sent an email like this week or next week where it's like, hey, like we're going to take 10 clients, or I'm like, I'm not charging you what we charge. I just want you to like do this co-venture with me. Like, I just want to test and explore as much as we can so that we can build all the case studies and get an understanding. Cause I'm like, oh, is this meta advertising 2015?
Yeah. I agree with you. I'm excited about it. I'm also curious. Like, we've talked a lot about meta today. I think it's going to be super exciting to run ads on ChatGPT. A lot of people are going to run them. LinkedIn is kind of the dark horse, where I feel like not a lot of people are talking about running ads on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And probably there are reasons for this. I'm curious, like, have you tried and what your perspective is on it?
Okay. So LinkedIn has been the social media channel I've invested in the most. In October, organically, but also in my own ads. So organically all day, like we have like a lot of resources put into it, and it's been the biggest ROI for us. From an advertising perspective, if you're in the B2B space, I think of it the same as like if you're Pornhub, you have to be hyper relevant to the channel you're launching the ads on. It's not a place for direct to consumer. But from a B2B perspective, for a list building, for a lead generation side, the CPMs and cost per clicks are higher, but the information is so much more valuable. I think, though, the dark horse and why people don't do it is because they don't do it right. If I'm generating leads, say I'm like looking for, let's say I sell these coffee cups, and I'm looking for convention buyers. Like, I want to know who runs conventions at hotels because they're going to buy 6,000 of these. I can go on LinkedIn and do that type of lead generation and then say, like, we're building leads at $200 or $400, significantly more expensive than other channels. But I know what company you work for. I know more about you. And where I think people do this wrong is then they start connecting. Like, you're the lead. You're like, yeah, I'm a convention manager. I oversee these 3 hotel properties, and we do, about 600,000 attendees a year. Perfect ideal buyer. Yeah. You've signed up. I don't message you on LinkedIn now. I completely disconnect where we came and met. And now I'm calling you and I'm emailing you and I'm SMSing you and I'm hitting you from every place. You already told me your inbox and all the different channels is crowded. But from the channel that we both directly connected on, I have so much of a stronger idea of who you are. It's not that like I have to guess, like you can use like side ID information, be like, I can guess what your credit score is and where you are. Your LinkedIn profile tells me what your job is. I know the company you work for. I think it's one of the best B2B lead generation tools. I just think most people aren't willing to pay an actual price of a cost per lead between $200 to $600. They're like, I'm happy with a $4 cost per lead that I'm never going to call. And I'm just going to have them sit in an email list versus I have someone who's an interested buyer who I know what their career is like. I can get to know this and I can do like personal selling from that.
Cool. I'm actually very bullish on LinkedIn this year for ads because I think just the fact that it gets less talk around it because fewer marketers actually run ads on it, its ad ecosystem is significantly smaller, way smaller than Facebook or YouTube, that as they evolve their AI technologies, they're going to help match people on LinkedIn that are using the platform in market better like Facebook has done with Andromeda. They're going to have their Andromeda moment. It just hasn't come yet. And so I'm waiting for that. I'm going long on that. And I think that's going to be a great day when they do bring the CPMs down because the CPM that they're charging you, it is kind of artificial. It's set by their platform. It doesn't have to be that high. And I don't actually believe that there's that much competition in that ad network for the amount of dollars versus impressions.
Agreed on that. And like, I don't think that they've had that Andromeda moment. I do believe that there is a supply and demand favor right now because I don't think there are many advertisers that are on it. It's always the big 3, right? And so like every Black Friday, my goal is like we test so many different networks because I'm like, okay, Google, TikTok, and Meta, it's going to be so crowded and our CPMs are going to skyrocket through it. So I love using diverse content. They haven't had their Andromeda moment. I think like you can do LinkedIn messages that show up in feed. You can do LinkedIn messages connected from a personal profile. They favor the individual over the business. And I think where maybe an Andromeda moment, like my guess would be, is their newsletters are taking off. If there's something where you can do more in-feed newsletter ads, that could be a component because you have people consuming on a subject matter as long as it's relevant. I'm super happy to read it because that's all my news articles. I'm buried with ads, but when they're not relevant to the content, it fails.
So how would you stack rank Meta, TikTok, LinkedIn, X, just throw Reddit in there for good measure, and YouTube? How would you stack rank
How do you
those?
leave Pornhub out of this conversation?
Oh, fine. Put Pornhub in there too.
Okay. I mean, it depends. When you say stack rank it, like what is the objective? What are we trying to achieve?
Stack rank, I would say, biggest opportunity for your clients this year from an running ads perspective to deliver outperformance.
I'm still going to say that it's Meta's the best platform for scalability.
Okay.
Because we don't have a threshold. YouTube or demand gen and Pornhub, like it just in terms of cheap new traffic, like you can pay less than $2 for a CPM for YouTube and you start to build awareness. You can pay less than 7 cents for a CPM on Pornhub. And I'm not trying to sell on those. I'm trying to build awareness and introduce my product or service. And so like it's marketing on those other channels. And then I'm advertising a product or service in Meta. I love LinkedIn for B2B lead gen. It's just the obvious place to go. You just have to know that you are going to be paying 40 times more.
So you're saying Meta?
Meta's going to be first.
Number one. Then?
Depending on the industry or product that you're doing, I mean, Google gives you inbound. You have people that you're like most interested in. You can cover your base and do from a protection of your brand standpoint. So I would allocate a portion of it to Bing and Google. I'm just going to say search engines.
Sure.
Because again, in just like a brand protection space, like that's easy. Then if you're e-commerce, it's TikTok for sure. And then if you're lead gen and you're looking for a wealthier individual, and depending on what your budget is, I love LinkedIn for that perspective. Reddit, Reddit has Reddit credit where you can get like $500 and tested. If your audience skews male, skews single, like it can be a really good place. But it's going to depend. I was like, give me a budget and give me a product, and I will tell you where I would distribute that budget.
Okay, so like I guess the final rung, it really just depends on product, service, type of business, how you'd place those.
Yeah.
But somewhere LinkedIn's in that conversation, Reddit's in the conversation.
Yeah.
And TikTok
I throw
above
Pinterest into the conversation as well, because Pinterest has really cheap CPMs as well. And if you're in the wedding space, or if you're in destination travel, or if you're doing any like stuff that's forecasting like future planning, Pinterest is another one of those really great places that people don't talk about. But that's like when you're diversifying your budget, say you have a small budget, I'm all in on one and I would choose Meta. If you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm not able to scale in this channel, introducing another channel is an amazing way to provide creative diversification off of platform.
So I want to double click on that. At what point do you say, okay, I have really reached the limits of what's possible on Meta.
Sure.
I've tried new creative. I've done everything that I could. I've got my data, my conversion pixels, everything is dialed, and I'm out of options. Is that the time when you go and explore a second channel?
Ooh, I would explore the second channel second. I would do it before you hit this ceiling. Yeah, I would say like when you've got your NCAC or your cost per lead and you've dialed in and you know with predictability. The second you know the predictability of dollar in and lifetime value out. What's the average order value of your first purchase or the lifetime value of that lead that you're bringing in? The second you know those numbers and you're dialed in on Meta and they're numbers that you're comfortable with, I immediately would say start introducing another channel.
Interesting. We had to grapple with that over the last 2 years. And one thing that was interesting was we also diversified, but what we learned is that each channel is very idiosyncratic. It has its own stuff to it.
Sure.
You have to really understand it. It's not as simple as point and shoot. as you know, that's why we have jobs and why we have agencies and
Yeah.
brands work with us, is that we've developed a lot of, let's say, technical expertise or frontier knowledge
Yeah.
that is not widely known or
Fair,
aware,
fair.
right? And so one of the things with Meta that really has blown me away is just to how, like you mentioned scalability, and that's 100% like blown us away at how deeply you can scale it,
Mhm.
especially if you can figure out the next level of your creative or your funnel. A lot of times it's not Meta, it's just your offer, your product, like way you're meeting
Yeah.
the audience.
Yeah.
And so if you break that pattern and discover something new, there's an entire order
Oh.
of magnitude greater amount of ad budget that you can deploy that'll
Spanish
just
ads.
crush.
Spanish ads.
All right, so let's give me your shtick on the multilingual ads.
Right now, it's about to be Lunar New Year. Okay. So anyone that has any Asian friend anywhere in the world knows that it's about to be the year of the horse.
Okay.
And so this is like the
Year of the horse.
Yeah. So we're ending the year of the snake. Now we're into the year of the horse. Fun fact, Draco Malfoy's name in Mandarin is like Ma or Fu. And it like Ma is horse and then Fu, it sounds like fortune or blessing. So if you see like Draco Malfoy stuff around like Lunar New Year items.
Chinese memes.
Yeah.
Cool.
The Chinese meme. It's a good play on words. But so it's a huge topic. Like it's Christmas. It's massive.
Yeah.
And in the United States, we underutilize celebrating Lunar New Year and tapping into the most talked about conversation for many communities. And using Mandarin-based ads right now, we are seeing better cost per acquisitions, incredibly great click-through rate on Google. Like I'm talking like double digit 20. We even had like, there was one ad that was like a 54% click-through rate that we had with Spanish for Google. It's just, there is so much inventory that is neglected. And I think like for the multilingual, again, it's January 30th right now. And so coming up to Lunar New Year in this part of this conversation, you stand out by fitting in. And by fitting in is a way that like if their feeds and everything is in Mandarin and then the only inventory that can be supplied into that is English, because it's obviously not in my phone's native language, that's ad blindness. Okay, pass, skip. Like it's like you have like horse vision and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Not in my peripheral. But when you stand out by fitting into that language or fitting into the conversation and it's about Lunar New Year in any capacity, like, do you have a Lunar New Year sale for Search Atlas? Do you have something that's talking about like how there's such an uptick of like celebrations right now? Like that type of stuff joins the conversation. So you can hijack that and be part of something that other ads aren't doing.
Interesting. Well, our platform, I don't think we natively support Chinese as a language in our platform.
Fair.
I wonder how it would work for us, but I like the idea.
But there's also a lot of individual, I mean, like I think about the United States population alone. It's massive. And we have so many people where English is a second language. They can speak English. There are many people that speak English fluently. It's just that like, oh, it comes up in their peripherals because their stuff is still in Mandarin or their stuff is in Portuguese.
So
I mean, I'm in
they
Florida.
speak both.
It's like they speak both. Absolutely. So there's like, I say it's like good, better, best. The good example is, okay, you have an ad and then it goes to an English-based page. So they're like, okay, cool. I know that this is English. Better is you have an ad that's in Mandarin or an ad that's in Spanish that goes to a Spanish page. And then support is in English. So the cart is in English and everything else, but it's like, okay, cool. I understand the product. And then the best scenario is where you have the ad, the page, and support in the same language. But with AI, that stuff is so much
more
it's so
possible.
I mean, even with the AirPods 3 from Apple, I can get around in an Uber without any problems because they can talk to me and I can talk to them and I don't have to use the Translate app.
Right. I have not tested that feature. I've got the AirPods 3.
Oh no.
But does it work well?
It works well.
Cool.
I liked it the best. I was in Vegas and the Uber driver I had a Tesla. So he was using Grok and he was speaking in Russian to Grok. And then Grok was speaking to me in Italian. So it was like a fun, like I wanted to test it. The AirPods don't work for Italian though. And so but for Spanish, it's great. Like it's so much better.
Real time. Is it fast?
It's fast. It's not like what you expect in the movies, but there's like like a small delay.
Good to know. I'll have to test it out. I mean, I'm in Colombia. It should be easy. All All right, shifting gears, I want to ask a couple agency questions because we got a lot of agency owners that follow us and they're on the channel.
Yay.
I'm curious, like when you look at your client mix, your client portfolio, what are you seeing as far as spending patterns? Are you seeing the smaller clients, are they spending more and are they growing faster? Or are you seeing the bigger brands, are they deploying bigger budgets? How is that mix changing? I'm curious.
I think right now, so we just came out of like sales fatigue, like Black Friday again being so close to Christmas, like people were burnt out. We're finally seeing consumers starting to spend again. So I think like right now, like the most immediate conversations is people are pulling back, or they have been pulling back and pulling back. Small businesses, I think, are willing to try stuff more than big businesses right now. I think where I'm seeing like, okay, let me take it back. What is small business for you? Like, let's break those pieces down because I don't want to make assumptions.
Well, let's say, I don't know how many clients you have that are like, I don't know what the mix is,
Mhm.
but let's just say small is like they be spending on Facebook less than like small would be traditionally like less than 10K a month.
Okay.
Medium, let's say like 10 and 100K a month.
Okay.
And then bigger would be like 500,000 plus.
Okay. 500,000 plus, those brands are getting, where I'm seeing is they're spending less. They're tightening on more of their functions. They're making sure that every dollar is getting through. It's like, we'll use the Lunar New Year snake. Like they're shedding all their books. They're shedding all the stuff. They're getting more efficiency.
Okay.
The bigger brands are demanding that every dollar be accounted for the way it needs to be. The medium, so like, our 10, 30,000 to almost $100,000 clients, they're dialing in on more testing, and they're like all in on the creative diversity. That bucket of people is like the perfect audience right now for
They're
clients.
willing to be experimental.
They're willing to be experimental because they've gotten past the phase of like, oh, I'm $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month. And they're like, I'm at 30,000. Like I want to go deep and I want to try. So what's fun about them being experimental is they feel like entrepreneurial again. And then the sub $10,000 a month clients, where are they spending at this point? Like, so in Meta, a lot of people, like I call them the hero campaigns, so the Batman and the Robin campaigns, your sales and your lead generation. And then in the three other horsemen or whatever, I think that smaller brands, I have seen them super going into smaller things about marketing who they are and not assuming that their Meta ad is going to do their sales. They've already surpassed this moment where I know that Meta's not an ATM for me. It just doesn't work. I've tried. And it's like, yeah, like your budget doesn't allow you to get out of the learning phase. Your budget is one of your biggest hindrances to your own scalability. But I think they're super now into investing into marketing their brand on Facebook versus expecting Facebook
like personal branding.
Personal branding and showcasing other elements about what they offer so that they can play the game that Meta's asking you to play, which is stop only doing sales campaigns. You have like 50 other total options you can do. Build a full funnel in Meta. Start building trust. Like if maybe it's an Alex Hormozy effect, right? Where he was able to cash in on his brand equity in a weekend to do $107 million. I think smaller businesses are understanding and appreciating the importance of building a brand and marketing before they demand a sale.
Interesting.
So they're spending more, but not on the obvious sales stuff because the sales, you can't get out of this. You can't get to the space you want to on a few $1,000s a month.
Makes sense. Okay. And let's shift gears a bit there. So if you had to rebuild your agency right now, things are way different than they were 8 years ago, right? Totally different ball game.
Yes.
Who's the first person you hired
Sales.
for the agency?
Salesperson.
Yes. Okay. Interesting. Why?
Because we never grew faster than when someone else was taking the calls. And I think if I was starting over, I want to help everybody. And I have taken deals and stuff like I want to do this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to work harder than I've ever had to work before. And it's like, it pulls on the heartstrings. And I'm willing to swing at bat. And then I've met other founders that don't believe in their businesses as much as I do. And that sucks. And I don't want that mental tax ever again. So sales, easy. Sales.
Interesting. I would say recruiting.
Okay.
people ops, because what I found, so the agency is all about the people that are on the team. You need really, really
Yeah,
talented
we're in the people
right?
business.
We're in the people business. So if you don't have those right people on the team, you're not going to have a good product, not a good service. And when I think back over the last like 8 to 10 years of us building our agency, because we're actually almost the same age, our agency versus Mongoose. So when I think about that journey, I think about the people when we were doing recruiting ourselves, maybe me or someone else on the team that was like very senior, we were doing recruiting while we were doing everything else. And there's this like exhaustion where you're like, I need to find this person yesterday.
Yes.
And I found this person. They've got 2 hands. They got a face. You're hired. And you put the wrong person in. And then that person being in that role, the total cost of like how much that costs you over time is excruciating if you actually sat down to think about it, because they weren't the best person for the job. They weren't as talented as they really could have been if you had spent the time to find that perfect candidate. And maybe you invested in training them. Maybe they walked. Like a lot of things happened. But because you didn't find that perfect person, it ended up costing you way more in the long run. And so now if I had to go back and do anything differently, any company that I would build, the first person that I would hire would be my recruiter to go and help me find and build my bench.
That's fair. I'll amend it because I want the recruiter to find my salesperson.
There you go.
But I think that's true. And I think a lot of what I can admit, things that I learned from was when I had someone else that I brought in, I was like, oh, I think this is a good fit. Or especially like the recruiter lets you stop hiring people you know. Like hire strangers. A recruiter finds you strangers, because when you hire friends and you hire family and things of that nature, it's a muddy relationship.
Can
and,
be, for
and
sure.
that's hard.
Yeah.
But I think when you're doing the recruitment and you're in that stage where I'm like so grateful that we have talent acquisition now on the team, that like that's not something I have to do. So I'm like, okay, I can amend it as long as then the first person they recruit is sales.
It's a salesperson,
But when you have someone and they know that there are hands in their face and you don't have the time to replace them, there's conversations that have been shitty where they've leveraged themselves against me and like I'm holding you hostage situation because I know you don't have the time to hire that next person yesterday. So having that person as that safeguard, again, as the founder, like those are the worst conversations I've ever had to have.
Those are very rough. Those can be tough because, they've got the client relationship at this point.
Yeah.
They've been so well trained that you kind of can't get rid of them. And then they come and they ask for too much and you're in a pickle.
Yeah.
And so having a recruiter gets you out of that because you hopefully have a bench of people.
Yeah.
What's interesting though, you said that gets you out of hiring people you know. One of the things that we found, and I was doing our all hands with part of our team actually today, and there was over 100 people on the call. And I just asked them, I was like, please raise your hand if you were here because you're a referral from someone else.
Okay.
And it was like 65% of the people
Amazing.
that were here, right?
Yeah.
And what we found is that referrals from our superstars, our best people on the team,
yes,
those referrals are the best referrals.
Yes.
And so now what our recruiting team is doing, instead of going and looking on LinkedIn or other channels, which we're still doing that, and we find great people sometimes all the time, really. But for a lot of roles, we're able to hire a person way faster and we're able to find the right fit. And because of the relationship, there's almost this greater affinity where they trust that this is a good job because they're hearing it from the inside.
Yes.
Like, this is a great team. You're going to like it here.
Yeah.
So that's a thumbs up. And they bring their best energy. They're more focused and they start in a more positive way. And also our teammates, they don't refer people who aren't good. They want to refer.
Because it comes back on them.
Exactly.
And so like you're totally right. Like I think of Noemi, like she brought on 14 people and her mom had said like, are you actually a copywriter or are you just like recruiter?
Yeah.
But it was interesting. Like
shout out to her.
Oh my gosh. I love you so much. She lives in Spain now and she's like pursuing a whole different career. But yeah, she brought so many wonderfully talented people and she was like, this is great. Like I get to bring all my friends into a job that I love. And so then it was like also like this mentorship. So she was really making sure like, oh, I can help you with those questions. Because we have like a cardinal sin at Mongoose Media where you don't ask anyone a question you didn't at least Google first. And so she would be like, hold on, don't ask a Slack question. Like, I've got you. And she would like do this like extra level of training because she wanted to make sure that they would thrive as much as she had throughout the time at Mongoose Media. So yeah, I agree with you. Oh, referrals from your best people are amazing. And when a referral, because there are referrals that don't work out, it becomes a like, you know what? we can reset like this. Let's make sure this is not a reflection of you. And when we've had those conversations where a referral from an amazing person didn't work out, and we're saying like, you're still doing great work, it instilled a huge level of culture and trust with our organization when we were able to do it from those bad moments. Oh yeah. I love it. Do you have like a referral program? Because we were giving anyone who brought someone in, we paid you.
Yeah. We did. I think it was like $500. And then right now we're in a big hiring blitz where we're trying to add like this is bulking season. So we're trying to add like about 100 people to the engineering team.
Amazing.
And hiring 100 people, I mean, super excited about that. But to hire 100 people in 3 months with a fairly lean sized recruiting team, the only way you can get there, and I learned this from Sam Altman, which is that he literally hired only through referral. He had amazing people and he's like, give me every single person, give me 3 people you know that are great. I'll interview them, I'll talk to them. You get them on board, then you ask them the same question and you build your team through that network. And that worked great for them and it's been working amazingly well for us. So that's been the fastest way that we can scale and hire the right people. And the referral program, it definitely gets people to think a little bit more about, okay, maybe I'll do this. Otherwise, if there's no incentive, we just noticed that they were still doing it. I mean, a lot of people on the team, because they know on their team, like, look, we're slammed. If I had a couple extra hands here, we could be killing it right now.
Yeah.
This team would feel a lot better. And so they were doing it anyways, but we just found we got even more referrals after we did that.
I think I love that you have that program. We had done the same thing with 500, but we actually ended up changing it and we had a scalable. So do you want to get paid 90 days that they're with us, 6 months, or 1 year? So the longer that there was, you could defer it. You could delay your payout. And so it was like, as long as they're in good standing and you're in good standing. And pardon me?
And it earns interest?
It earns interest. So you get a much higher payout. So you get $1,000 if they're still there a year later.
What's the interest rate on that?
Well, I mean, like instead of getting $500 at like 90 days, you get $1,000 at a year. So you double what it is.
Sweet.
So do you want to take the cash payout now? Only one time did someone take it early and it's like, yeah, I didn't think they were going to last 6 months. So I was like, fair is fair.
Glad you kind of told us that.
Yeah.
By what you chose.
But then we also we had guessed because they're like, why don't you want to wait for $1,000? Because we thought they were going to leave. And they're like, okay, well, if I'm not here in a year from now, I'm not going to get that $1,000.
Right.
So I was like, okay.
Interesting.
And yeah, so that was something that was really helpful of making sure that, again, that like almost like babysitter role of like, come on, dude, like you need to stay. I need you to stay at least another 6 months or things of that nature.
They're more bought in.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do lightning round. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions for you.
Okay.
And I'll just hit you with it and you just respond. First thing comes in your head. Lauren, someone is spending $10K a month on ads right now. What is one thing they should check and fix right now this week?
Make sure that their audience definitions are defined so they know who's their engaged audience and who is their existing customers. And then they should look into the breakdown of which placements are doing well, and do not restrict any of your audiences to turn off Advantage Plus. Go set up value rules based off of the trends you see from breakdowns.
Okay, that's a mouthful. We'll write that down for you. All right. Someone's about to hire their first media buyer or agency.
We don't say media buyers anymore. Those are stupid roles. You're hiring a growth expert. Okay.
Agency, growth partner. Yeah. What should they look for?
What should they look for? The thing that I like looking for the most is someone that's proven success more than 2 times. I want you to show me an experience. I mean, case studies, yeah, but like case studies published, I don't need it to be that formal. I want you to tell me if I'm bringing you on, am I the brand or an agency that's hiring?
Just objectively, for a brand that's looking to find
a brand. Okay. Yeah. So I'm a brand. Let's say I'm in a category of food and beverage. I want to make sure that the person I'm bringing on has done consumer product goods at a price point similar to mine. I want to make sure that they have at least 3 different clients. And I want to know that they have increased ad spend during their tenure. And I want to make sure that if, say, they start at 1,000 and then they grew to 10,000. Okay. I just want to make sure that they have at least 3 or 4x the amount of budget that they were managing when they started with that brand and when they finished with that brand.
Excellent. Very specific. Fuck, marry, kill. Meta, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, Pornhub.
I'm marrying Meta.
Okay.
I am.
Could have seen that coming.
Yeah. I am fucking Pornhub. It's 7 cents for 1,000, and you can do income targeting. And again, like I told you, like we're going to be running ads for Mongoose Media on Pornhub, and I can target business owners making $400,000 a year watching blonde female porn.
I get it.
Say less.
And so who are you going to kill?
I'm going to kill X.
Should kill X. Okay. All right. Got it.
I've tried so hard. I've never seen X ads do anything worth their grain of salt.
Yeah, we've tested them. They didn't work well for us. All right. Now you're an e-com brand running $100K a month in ad spend on Meta. At what point do you expand into other social channels?
50 grand a month ago.
Perfect. Very helpful. Lauren, this has been a lot of fun. Appreciate all the insight. And I'm curious to hear about some of your other unconventional strategies on our next pod, which we'll do at some point in the future.
Yes.
How they play out. And it's going to be a really exciting year with all the changes with AI and agents and how that affects marketing. But great to have you back. And thanks for being here.
Thanks. I'm going to come back with you with some lightning round questions then myself.
Sweet.